Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Front Royal Mayor Lori Cockrell, and she brought some eye candy with her today, Council Member Bruce Rappaport. We're glad you're here. It's that time. About every month or so, we're trying to invite the mayor and have her bring one of her other councilmen with her. And just
asked for Bruce.
I did ask for
month,
Bruce,
he said, bring
hiding.
Bruce. So I said... I told Mark earlier, I listen.
Bruce is, I always tell people, he's like me. We have a face for radio, so.
Yeah. Well, we see each other on the street.
That's right. So, so I thought, well, if Lori would, poke him, he would come in.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
But it's good for people to meet the different, it's one thing sitting and watching you up there, but we can glean on some new information. Bruce has been in several times when he was running for council, so
gotcha.
He's
You're old hat at this
he's
stuff,
an old
right?
guy now.
You've been in the Royal Examiner studio before.
He's an incumbent. That's
yes,
right.
that's it.
I had black hair years ago.
You had hair.
I had hair.
That's what I always say.
That's right.
Too.
Yeah, actually, I'm getting a little patch of gray over here, and it really seriously showed up after I joined council, and I kept saying, "Could it possibly be?"
I thought you just opened the bottle up and fix it.
Now I'm trying to.
All right. Well, there's been a lot of stuff going on the council, and I think this is a good idea that you can come in and talk about different things. We've had a lot of short-term rentals, and it seems like everybody and his brother's getting in the Airbnb business. But
although the county has, in watching their meetings, they've had way more.
Oh, I know.
I want to say Lauren told us recently we were at like under 20, like maybe 19, which is right. That's what it was. And considering we've been. The ordinance was passed. It's been over a year. That's compared to, sometimes it seems like the county has like 4, 5, 6, 7 every meeting. They could almost have a meeting for. But
well, we're entrepreneurial, so we'll see if it'll work. So what do you got coming up this week?
Well, there's a lot of different things, but there's a couple that I really wanted to get the word out to the public so that they could let us know, come and speak, or send us emails. The two, I could tell you some things that are going to be interesting that are coming up that I find interesting.
Okay.
Then I want to get two out there that I really think are important.
Okay.
So one thing that we're going to be acknowledging is our finance department, BJ Wilson, and our staff, because they got a certificate of achievement for excellence in financing and reporting, and that this isn't the first time.
I was going to say, isn't this like the 20th in a row?
Yeah.
I mean, since BJ's taken over, every year he's they really dot all the I's and cross the T's and add all the zeros up.
Yeah. And we are, council, myself, even before, I have always felt so comfortable. Like, I feel confident that the finance, I know there's always going to be that talk about, government and corruption and stuff. And I think like BJ is
I feel pretty confident.
Yes.
He doesn't get too excited about but if he tells you something, he's always got the documentation to show it to you.
And before every budget, I always go in and, have tons of questions, like ask, and, he'll say, he'll say, no, I like that you're asking questions. Like, that's good. So that's important.
That's good.
Another thing that is on council's agenda is we're going to be dedicating, if council passes it, a resolution to dedicate and name the North Commerce Avenue Bridge in honor and memory of Sergeant Dennis Smedley. In September, it's I don't want to call it an anniversary, but it's an anniversary of that horrible tragedy in our community.
I can remember when that happened. That was that really shocked the community.
Yeah, I think I was in 10th grade. I was going to say, and I remember, let's be honest, like in the early 1980s, something like that was like, what? That's something you heard of somewhere else. So anyway, Wayne Seelock really carried the ball on this one and wanted to honor Dennis in some way.
Okay.
And so that I think is very important.
People want to know, where in the world is a North Commerce Bridge?
Okay, so glad you said that. So if
Because you don't even look like a bridge when you drive across.
That's it. So if you're coming down Commerce Avenue, I say coming from, Dunkin' Donuts going that way, and it's there before you get to the Happy Creek turnoff. It's that small bridge right there.
Here,
At Water Street.
Yeah, right.
Over between Main Street and Water Street.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And what's good about that location is a lot of people go past it every day, so seeing the sign really gives them the opportunity to reflect.
I'm glad we're doing that.
I thought that was super important. Another thing that's going to be coming before council is about the 2 murals that are
First response chimney.
Yes. It wouldn't surprise me if he comes in sometime and does an interview with you.
Yes, he
So
will. He's
yes.
been in. We've done some work with him
good,
already.
Good. So
He's just biting the book,
yeah, ready to go.
William doesn't like to wait around too long. Let's get it done.
Yes,
But you know what? The murals aside, he's done a lot of work on that property, and it'll look really nice when it's finished. And we needed that. It look, as soon as we can get that sign down that says cash loans, it'll look really good. And I think that's a nice little touch. You at least going out, you can see it, and coming in, it kind of
if we can get the car wash going across the street.
Yeah, that should be starting. So I think it's a good thing. He's taken an interest in town. He's bought that building, and he's here to stay, and he does a really good work. I mean, he's top notch on that.
Yeah,
he was a reason it's called first response. He was a fire person down in the city or down the country.
And he volunteered here.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he and his wife, right?
Yes,
I believe,
and they really are gung ho, and they hire a lot of those kind of people to work, and veterans and things. So he's conscientious. I think it's great.
And you brought up a good point about improving that area. I think that council certainly is excited about when. We all believe in economic development, right?
Sure.
But then there's redevelopment. That was a piece of property there. Somebody's coming in, they're, taking that building, turning it into something that's, bringing some money
puts
back.
More life into it.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's just not anything and everything could go there. And so that was a good choice.
It's a good
kind
choice.
of like across the street where the Elisco's was. We're hoping that the car wash gets started here.
Yes.
But people, I don't need a car wash. But it's better than a rundown, beat up old building that was there. So again, same thing.
Yeah.
Bringing revenue back to the town. It's giving us a service that we can use, and it's great.
And my thought is, whenever people question a particular business, we don't need another one of those. I always think to myself, well, supply and demand. If people aren't there,
if we can support 15 vape shops, I guess we can support a couple car washes. Right?
Well, that's a story for another day, Mike. But it makes you worry when you think we can support that many businesses.
That's right.
Yeah.
We may not patronize it, but somebody must be.
So another thing that I just want to again just share with people, and then 2 things that I hope people will come out and give their thoughts on, and that is. And I told somebody I might literally bring one of those birthday blowhorns because the comp plan.
What?
I even
been
said
on the back burner for how long?
I told Lauren, I said if I wasn't afraid the custodians at the government center might get mad, I might throw confetti on Monday night. But the comp plan is finally coming before council for a vote. And I actually was, I was on the council when the first meetings with the planning commission and things. And it should have taken 18 months. It took a little longer. And we can bemoan about that, or we can say, you know what, it's because we wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
And so that's coming up. But 2 other things that I think are super important. One is and this isn't a public hearing, but it's another opportunity for the public to give input. Is authorizing the town attorney to negotiate a contract with Blue Line Solutions. So I know everybody's heard about the idea of speed cameras in school zones. And I know that we've gotten some feedback. It was on an agenda earlier, and then it was, we removed it off the agenda. We've done a whole lot more talking. more research, asking more questions. I personally don't feel like I have all the questions I need answered.
Right.
As the mayor, I don't have a vote unless there's a tie. But just this is another opportunity for the public to continue to give us input on their thoughts.
Sure.
I wish there was another solution. And I would even entertain more solutions, as somebody said recently. If you have an idea, let's hear it. But the idea is that we don't have enough staff to man each of those schools.
I think about cameras. You don't have to pay them retirement or benefits or anything else.
Yeah, there is that.
No, you don't.
No. And the key to that, I will say, because I wouldn't even entertain it if it wasn't about safety and safety of our children. So I think that part, we all acknowledge there's a problem, but just coming up with the right solution. And even if this moves forward to negotiate a contract, the contract's got to have all the things that are important. And
That's just to get the ball rolling.
Right. And council's really had a lot of, we want to make sure it has this, we want to make sure it has that.
Yeah. One thing about contract, it's not what it says, what's in it, it's what's not in it.
Yeah.
That's always
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Well, Mark and I are going to set our camera out here on Commerce Avenue because we think this is a drag strip coming up here, so that'll be the next thing. So we're going to put our camera there, and just so people know, so, be careful. Oh, it's amazing. People drive like...
Yeah.
They call it road rage, I guess.
Keep in mind, this is only in school zones.
I
Yes,
know.
yes,
So
yeah.
the Royal Examiner camera is going to go out and about.
That's it. But
Yeah.
but like I said, it's still talking, still
Right. Just
talk
because
about
we do
improving.
just because we negotiate a contract, it's not really a done
Right,
deal yet because
right.
we have to approve the contract. Okay.
Right. So if the public has information they want to share, they can, and there's always emails, but then people can come and speak. So
Yeah.
just another opportunity for people to do it. But
Okay.
so the next one, actually Bruce and I are pretty passionate about this
Okay.
one. So this was a perfect thing for Bruce to join me with. Is and for people who don't know about this. Hopefully you have, because there have been definitely people reporting about it. But the Raymond E. St. Mary's Youth Center. So
Right.
it's down there on 8th Street. For those that have been here a long time, they remember when it was really a thriving place
was.
for youth to go.
Kind of like out of sight, out of mind, and kind
Yeah.
of like all of a sudden you just don't pay any attention and
Yeah.
it's disappeared. You know?
Yeah. And so there's a group here locally called Reaching Out
Reaching Out
Now.
right? Samantha Barber.
Yes,
Right.
which, and I think she's done interviews with
Oh,
you before.
tons of 'em, yeah.
She's involved in lots of different positive things for the youth and the community
Right.
and leadership and things like that. But they had come to the town. They need seed money. That's the idea. So they're asking the town to provide seed money, the county to provide the building, and then of course, because that building had some things that needed to be fixed in it, the county's putting forward quite a bit of money into fixing things up.
Yes.
I could let them speak about it, but it
Sure.
was like plumbing and mold and
HVAC.
all kinds of things like that.
Things what happens when you let something set empty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Although it wasn't sitting empty,
Well-
there was Parks and Rec staff in there,
Yeah.
and there was like a program the school system used there. But you're right, definitely not the
Wasn't a youth center.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a youth center. That's for sure. The thing is that the town, because they're Reaching Out Now would be the ones that would be requesting the money, and they would be overseeing it. And them being a nonprofit, that's not something the town usually gives to,
So
right?
you'll have to get sort of an MOA.
Yes, exactly. But really, when council asked to bring this for a public hearing to receive public input, the idea is have the public come and tell us this is what we want you to do. Mm-hmm. And, part of that is because we haven't done something like this. And, not saying that we're going to do this every time a nonprofit comes and comes to us, but this was one of those things where our fear was that if we don't know that it's going to happen. Right. So the idea was some seed money, and then after 2 years, during that time that they would be fundraising, have a capital campaign, and then, for us, it would just be like a pilot. We would be starting it. And I'm sure the county would continue to provide the building. But so we need the public to come and basically say, do this.
Right. Of any one organization you could work with, I can tell you if she's going to be behind it, it'll get done. Because she's a real go-getter, and she's passionate, and she has a lot of support in the community, and she knows a lot of, and even outside the community, because she's involved in some things she did up in Winchester and around for the youth, and anyway, she does a lot of great work. I don't know how she gets all that stuff done, but she does.
Yeah, and I think if there was a group to take this on, that's the group.
Well, the old saying, either pay now or pay later. Yeah. So we that's what we're doing now. We have you always have a problem.
Well, they're doing a lot of interesting things. I mean, with this mentoring workshop opportunities for kids to learn life skills.
Right.
That you don't always learn in school.
It's amazing. And the things we take for granted, we think everyone, we don't, since we were in high school, a lot of things have changed. And, and classes have changed, and just the technology's changed. And we just, it's funny. Kids don't balance their checkbook. They just look online and see how much money they have.
Yeah. Well, some kids don't even, some even 20-year-olds don't even have checks. What's a check?
Yeah,
like writing a check. Yeah. But,
and the socialization that the kids lost during COVID.
And not just COVID, just socialization. I mean, you're right, COVID definitely, but quite honestly, it's that having a face-to-face conversation and not through a text.
Did you see that story with the parents said, go outside and play, so the kids went out and sat on a swing set and played on their phone. So that,
it would be funny if it wasn't true, but
that's right. That's what made it funny.
Yes, exactly. But they do have other, the idea that with their idea is that this would be a place that kids could come. They want to make it, comfortable to them. They talked about a coffee bar. There would be opportunity for, internet access and things like that. But they want to bring people in, maybe even some like homework help, just try to, I won't say find hobbies. Their plan is to find out what the kids want.
Sure.
And because what we might think they want.
Give them some direction.
Yes, yeah.
They want to bring in some kids from Warren County High School and Scotland High Schools, and a group think type thing.
And I think there's 7th through 12th, right? 7th through 12th, not 8th through 12th. I think it was 7th through 12th. And we even talked about maybe 6th grade, but they were thinking 7th through 12th. But I think they would even entertain maybe, a 6th grade dancers, things like that.
Sure.
So really the reason why I wanted to get that out in front of the public is that, and I know that when you do this interview, you'll also have an opportunity to have a caption. But, we really need people to come out and,
Is this resolution going to be on the?
This is actually receiving. It's a public hearing to receive public input.
Okay, so this is good.
So it gives people an opportunity to come in and, say, hey, we think this is a good idea. Because again, we're spending, town taxpayers'
How much money? What's the estimated?
Well,
budget?
it was originally going to be like $50,000 the first year, $50,000 the second year, but then because the timeline kind of changed because the building wasn't going to be ready yet, so I think it's like 25, then 50, then 50. I think by the end in the 2 years it's 125,000. Yeah. So what made it tricky for us is we'd already done our budget. Right. So then you got to figure out like how are you going to get the money in there? Before next year's budget, you can plan for it. But I think the community will embrace this. But like I said, we want to hear from them, and we want to hear them say, "Do this," because it isn't something the town. The youth center itself is actually. The county's property and Parks and Rec and stuff.
Used to be the town's property.
Yes, it did. Yes.
We were growing.
When
you were growing up, I was still old.
Yeah, we actually looked at that all recently about what year everything changed over. But anyway, so my plea is that the public come and give input. And I'm not saying what your input should be, personally, I think
way
we
or
all
the
know that I'm passionate
Sure,
about
sure.
the youth and kids, but I have to remind myself all the time, just because it's important to me doesn't mean it's important to all 15,000
Right.
town residents. But so.
Well, but they can really identify with mentors of, folks that actually, it could be police officers,
Sure,
it could
sure.
be firemen. So, and it could be children that are, need a little direction that they're not getting from home. And
Yeah.
so,
And some
I'm all
socialization
in.
skills,
Yeah.
I'm personally all in on it, but
Good. That's what we want. That's great.
that's where I'm at. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, what else Bruce got here? Yeah.
Yep, I'm good.
You're hogging the whole conversation.
I had this list
that
of
great? I
things
could-
that I want I wanted people to know and come out and speak about. Go ahead. What's in?
her brother tells me she'll just talk it to death.
Oh yeah.
Hey, my sister's
Sorry.
the same way.
I have to have a disclosure here.
Yeah.
Lori actually used to work for me, so before
I
her.
was young. I was 12
Very young.
I was 12, 13.
No,
Parents had-
you were 16 with the permit.
I thought you were still young.
Yeah, I'm still young.
She was 16 with the work permit. No,
Yeah,
she was
that's
not
it.
12
Yeah,
or 13.
yeah, that's it. Anyway,
Well,
Mike and I go way back.
yeah. Well, I go back pretty far with
Right,
mine,
right.
too, so, I can discuss a bunch of things.
Okay.
But one of the things that I was recently involved with was I sat in on a VML. I think it was called the Infrastructure Policy Committee. It was formerly named something different, but
Sure.
they came up with a different name. And basically what they went over was that there are these opportunities for municipalities out there for grant money. For one of the topics was flood management. Being that this portion of the community is in a flood plain area,
Sure.
There may be assistance for some communities to fill out applications for assistance. And some of the numbers were pretty big that they were thrown out, like $80 million. But of course, that goes out
Statewide.
It can be used
We'll get
up pretty
$14.
quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna
$0.32
say.
right there.
Sounds great though. You never know.
Well, but people
Maybe,
can rely
yeah.
on things. Yeah, it's flooding is a serious problem. That's like here. He said, "Well, we really haven't flooded a lot. Normally our floods on this part of town all happen when the town messes up the bridge down there and leaves the guardrails up. But I remember last year, was it, or year before, you could float a boat down Commerce Avenue here. That's the first time in 50 years I've seen that.
Yeah.
And so you just never know.
There's not enough water right now, which
you know,
would be a whole nother
Well,
story.
it's funny. I had my smart car, and I drove up here on 7th Street, and I said, I can't get across. I'll float down the road. So I turned around, went home, and got my Suburban. By the time I got back, the water was gone.
That's a good thing.
So it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then another thing that they spoke about, and it was a topic that came up in our work sessions, I believe, was towing rates.
Yeah.
They want to put a cap on.
Yeah, that's a sore subject, isn't it?
Yeah, they want to.
That's actually something that's coming up on Monday night. We're doing a citizen appointment to the towing board,
Oh,
but
there
keep
you go.
going. Sorry.
Yeah, we would like the infrastructure policy committee would like to see a cap put on that, how much they can charge.
Sure.
I'm hearing something like $120, but of course.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
We've
Because
heard
it-
a lot of war stories about people getting the cars and got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for storage fees and lot fees and impound fees, and some of that can really get out of hand in some of these places. There's a
Well,
lot
we
of-
should just be glad we're not a college town, because both of my kids I'm just saying, like, literally, that's like a market. There are people down there. Every time we would go to see my daughter, we had to call before we went and tell the people that ran the lot of her apartment
Sure.
that we were coming, and here was our license. Otherwise, and we had to put a paper in the window that said we talked to Jerry, and he said we could park here. Otherwise, I know Virginia Tech is like $200.
Yeah,
To
that's serious.
get
Don't
towed.
park here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, basically what they would like to see is the local authorities being able to set the
Sure,
rates.
sure.
Okay.
But normally you contract that out. You don't just have anybody and everybody towing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's normally on a contractual basis, so you have a little control over it. Yeah.
Right. There was other good stuff out there. They talked about license plate fees. I believe it was license plate. It's called LPR, license plate readers. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
going to say,
Okay,
when you
readers.
said
Yeah.
fees, I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what?
You know, when
Yeah.
years ago we used to have a little license plate underneath ours that said Front Royal. Remember those way back? Yeah.
Yeah, well, these license plate readers are designed basically for law enforcement to be able to monitor possibly stolen vehicles, maybe vehicles that may have been in a crime of an abduction.
They're amazing.
that-
I mean, they can just drive down the road and read them right off.
Right.
Parked cars. Yeah, it's amazing.
Right, but what comes into play there is the potential of violating your constitutional
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, if I was them, I'd tread lightly on that because
Yeah.
look how much feedback we've gotten about this. People won't
No
be.
expectation of privacy on
Yeah.
a public road, you know, so.
Right, so that was another
But,
topic.
you know, it's just, people say, well, that's just the one thing that everybody can agree on, but then what about the next one?
Yeah.
What about the next one? What about the next one?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. You
It
got to
is,
be
so
careful.
Be careful on that, yeah.
Right. Another good subject that really caught my eye was advanced aviation. Now you remember the cartoon The Jetsons?
Right.
Can you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, that's where this is headed. Is they're looking at drones being able to transport, people from point A to point B. Let's say from the top of the element to Dulles Airport
Oh, wow.
by 2041. This is supposedly going to be big business
Will
for
I
the
be
state.
here in 2041?
No,
Well, they're looking at 8 million passengers using this technology. Will bring $16 billion in new business to the state.
yeah, we don't realize it, like you say, it sounds crazy, but you know what? You have so did going to the moon. That sounded
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so it's like the B-1 bomber. I remember when I was in the Air Force, we built B-1 bomber program. Yes, we got a bomber out of it, but the technology spin-offs of all those programs, that's how we got Velcro and some sort of, now when planes fly, those little tips that swing up on the plane, those all came out of these technologies that were coming from military projects. So it's amazing the spin-offs that we get from innovation.
We can say about the Jetsons, but let's be honest.
Look what you got on your wrist.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I think about the
Tracy,
Jetsons,
Archie.
when I was a kid, like all the things, George, and what was the wife's name? George Jetson. George.
George.
I know, what was the woman? Anyway, when the wife would the screen, what was
Who
it?
was it, Mark?
Jane.
Jane,
Oh,
that's
there you
it,
go.
Jane and George. But
You win the trivia
Yeah,
contest.
that's it. But there would be a screen, and she'd be talking to somebody on the screen, and we all thought that was crazy. Hello, I just talked to my
talked to my-
daughter. Yeah, FaceTime, boom.
Yeah, they're in Indonesia, and I talked to them. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like it's nothing. I
Or
know.
like the cleaner, we laugh about the cleaner, but
Yeah.
last year for Christmas I got one of those robot vacuums,
yeah?
and it just, goes around the house and
That's your
vacuums.
excuse for not vacuuming.
Yeah, hey, my husband's happy about it because
All right.
Well,
What
they're
else you
talking
got,
about
Bruce?
they're
You got
talking about having vertiports. There'll be vertiports on top of these buildings.
I'm just waiting for beam me
With-
up, Scotty.
Yeah.
with charging stations, and there's supposed to be like 12 batteries. These in these.
I just don't want to be
vehicles.
the first guy.
I'm going to get in line.
There you go.
There you go.
But Bruce talking about the VML
Emergency
committees.
transporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say for citizens that might not know, so all these Virginia Municipal League committees, all of our council members serve on something. So Bruce's infrastructure, there's a finance committee, there's actually a health and education, and even though we don't have a school, they still want people to participate in those. And a lot of times what happens on those are these types of things. You hear what might be on the horizon, but then you also give input as to what is going to be shared with the legislators. And then in October, when the VML committee comes along, they come together and say, we really think this is a priority, this is a priority. And so it gives the localities an opportunity to have a voice, as a collective group. And sometimes the things that VML has, their areas, that they're not quite like we are, this rural area, so they have to find a happy medium. But we do have representation on all of those committees. Yeah.
Yeah, and another point they brought up under natural resource updates was something called PFAS. Now, I can't remember exactly what the PFAS stands for, but it has to do with our drinking water, and it mostly affects urban areas or metropolitan areas that they're finding, like say Flint, Michigan, that type of thing. But they're finding that of the tap water that they've tested, that 50% of them had these PFSs in them, and it's dangerous for human consumption. Now, if you look at our report that we have gotten back from our drinking water, it's like 5 stars.
Yeah, I was going to say the town of Cockrell's most recent report.
I just read where those are in paper straws. So that's another story we talked about.
Wow.
They're,
But we don't want anybody to think that we're saying that we have a problem, because actually our reports have been excellent.
No, but I believe they indicated that there might be some mandating of municipalities to at some point to update.
They got to make sure they can, if they are there, they can get rid of them.
Yeah,
it's like what happened to our sewer plant. When we spent $40 million to get rid of phosphorus and things, and now we're going to next upgrade will be get rid of estrogen and all sorts of different things in our water supply. Because all that stuff in the sewer supply goes into the water supply downstream. So,
and since we're
downstream from a lot.
Yeah, but since we're party to the Chesapeake Bay, we may find ourselves that we will be testing for these things as well.
Bruce brought up the teleport on the Element or whatever. It made me think about Main Street. And I know you've been there because you've been at a couple of them that I've been on, ribbon cuttings, but wow.
Got a lot in the pipeline.
Wow. Oh, and stuff that's happened already, Downtown Blends, Bell and Buckle.
Sure.
And it's coming. It hasn't, but Garcia and Gavino, just a lot of exciting things that are.
There's a lot of construction going on the old Warren Paint and Supply building.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. So, but I just want to say, if you've not been, and it's not just Main Street.
No.
Poppy's Place hasn't had a ribbon cutting yet. I'm sure it's going to, but
I had breakfast over there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's
it's a real eclectic place.
Yes,
it's done real well.
Yes, and the food, and it's different food each day.
Sure.
She'll post out on Facebook like, here's the cookie for tomorrow, here's the Nourish Bowl, and things like that. So there's a lot of things going on in town, and it's exciting because I feel like, to me, that means people are investing in our community, and they think they feel like they can have a successful business, just like William that you're talking about, first responders. So head down to Main Street if you haven't, or not just head Main Street. Rural Avenue is where Poppy's Place is. I feel like there's something else though. There was another one.
Royal Blends.
Yeah, well, Downtown Blends.
There's
The
old in the Trout Drug
building.
Yeah.
That's the other part about, we were talking about redevelopment. These people that are taking buildings that were sitting empty, or people weren't doing anything with them, and they're going in and investing in them, and so, which is good because the town, we don't have a ton of extra space.
Sure.
I believe I saw a sign for Catamount Lounge.
Yeah, that's it.
It was where
I know.
Vino.
Yes,
Yeah, I was going to say
that's
right
it.
there, the Barnharts there at,
Yes.
at the
Yeah.
Virginia.
It's right beside of
Yeah.
Fabrice.
Fabrice.
The old
Fabrice,
Front Row
right
Brewing.
next door.
Yeah,
And that place, I don't know, but
Mm.
apparently it's the same people that had the Pancake Underground in Strasbourg.
Strasbourg.
And people were always commenting about
Yeah,
how
they do it
wonderful it
right
was.
now. Yeah.
So they're coming. They haven't had a ribbon cutting yet, but I don't know when they're going to open. But again, I knew there was another place.
Well,
that
there's
was
another place
coming.
coming. You know where the Hong Kong
Yes,
place was? Now it's going to call it Vito's Greek Mex
that's it. I saw
Emporium
that.
or something.
Yes.
But he was in the other day, and we made a banner for him.
Out
put
in
over-
Gateway.
And so yeah,
Yes.
next to Big Lots. And
Yes.
yeah, in that area. So that's going to be a little different. He said it's going to have special kind of tacos and then a lot of Greek stuff. So that'll be a kind of interesting mix. He said he's done this before, and it's, but people are investing in our community.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go out the Gateway Plaza out there, you'll see that Castiglia's has expanded.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I went in there during teacher work week, and it was like, wow, it's like double the size.
Oh, and
if
she's
you went
done
there
it.
on a Friday night, I mean, before they expanded, you went there on a Friday night.
waited.
It was packed. Yeah, you
Yeah,
waited.
wait
So
outside.
that was a good thing. You were saying though about people investing in our community, and about Greek. I remember recently in the last several months, somebody posted like an anonymous, because everybody posts anonymous
Sure.
now on What's Up Front Row. What kind of restaurant would you want to see? And I was shocked at how many people said Greek. And I thought, well, that's interesting.
Because we don't have any.
Yeah, and so now that you're saying that, I wonder, were they paying attention and
Sure,
said this
sure.
is something, because people do like a variety.
Yeah. Well, the opera. You know, we have an opera, and comes quarterly over at the restaurant. You know, there, the Italian restaurant.
Yes.
Asteria,
Yes.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Asteria Maria.
Yes.
Right.
He was in and talked to him, and it's a lot of cool stuff going on. So we did a nice story on that, and of course the Royal Examiners tries to stay on the cutting edge.
You do.
Yes,
you
you do.
bring things forward that
Yeah.
people need to hear about.
We like to put a lot of good stuff.
Yes, you do.
Well, kudos to our Front Royal Police. They got involved in that chase today. Remember that? So
Yes.
that's good.
And they worked with the Warren County Sheriff's
That's
Department.
right,
I just
and
want to
the Page
say
County, that's right, yeah.
Yes, it was a
mutual-
a group effort.
Yeah.
It's funny. Before I came here, I went to get my fuel, my Diet Dr.
Yeah, yeah.
Pepper, and some Front Row PD were in there, just a couple, and they saw me come in, and they were like, "It was a busy day today," and I was like, "Yes, it was. I was at work, but because they had a soft lockdown at some of the schools, and they mentioned, they said, I said, but it was great. You all worked together with other law enforcement agencies, and they said it really
Worked good.
it helped a lot.
That goes all the way back
So-
to things we've done earlier, like getting on the same radio and the frequency, and all the mutual things that we need to work together with the surrounding counties and the state.
Right.
It takes a lot to get all that coordinated. No man is an island. You got to really work together on that.
Talking about island, I believe today that I believe the gentleman was in the water, and they had to, right? The car was.
Oh yeah, it crashed it, but he got out. He ran away. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, we got a lot of stuff going on, and let's get back. Who are you going to bring with you next time?
I don't know. But let's see. What is this? Is this
Even brought
is this
Amber.
into August? Yeah. Okay. I was
She's
gonna say
competition, though.
August,
She
September,
can talk
October.
more than you can.
That would be fine with me. Let somebody. Maybe October we'll do that again. By then, there's. Well, we'll see, because maybe we should come before the festival leaves. You're going to do some stuff on talking about the festival leaves.
Because that's a great event we have,
Yes,
and Lizzie
it
is
is.
doing a great work
Yes.
helping everybody coordinate. So we have that. We have the election coming up.
Yes.
We're having a couple new council seats.
Yep. There are actually
4 people are running for 2 seats. So
correct, and I'm glad you said that, because there was some confusion that people thought that because there were 2 special elections, which there were,
Right.
like there were 2 different orders that were put in, but the state combined it. So
So now it's at large. So the top 2 vote getters will get the seats. Okay.
That's what I wanted people to know.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, you probably already know this. But talking about election stuff, did you know Miss Tobin
Miss
was
Tobin
retiring?
is retiring, I think, at the end of the month.
Sad.
Yeah. She's been there Forever.
I think she told me 28. I think she said 24 or 28 years as a registrar, 41 years working for the county.
Yeah.
And when she first told me, I said, "Oh no!" And then I said, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. You deserve to retire, but
Yeah.
it's just."
Yeah.
She's like a
Yeah.
staple, but
Yeah.
she flies in under the radar.
Yeah.
But she's done a great job, and she's always been very
Yeah.
cooperative,
Very. And informative. She,
course.
yeah.
She came in behind Danielle Wendell.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That's right.
Is that, my goodness, that has been a long time.
Yes,
If it
it
was,
has.
yes.
Bruce is a local.
Yeah.
I'm a local
I know
too,
all
but I
these
don't-
names.
yes.
Yeah, but he's an old local.
Yeah, that's true. But
Easy.
she assured me that the gentleman that was going to be taking over for her, she's been working with him and training him the
That's
last
good.
couple
Yeah.
months, weeks, and she said he was going to do a
I think
good
she
job.
just wanted to get out for the next big elections, and I don't blame her.
Well, it's not really a one-day thing now. It's literally
Oh, it's a season.
45 days.
It's a season.
Yeah.
Election season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
I got to go back to the old way. I just like going there on the same day, and if you can't make it on that day, just out of luck. So,
yeah.
well,
yeah.
again, Mayor, I appreciate you coming in.
Always. Thank
'cause
you.
You have what? How much longer on your term? This is your second year? Or
No, this is just.
Oh, your first?
It
Seems
feels like
like-
it, doesn't it?
Seems like you've been mayor forever.
Yeah, I know. It does feel like that. No,
Mayor
I'm
here
actually.
only serves 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
and
So
2
next
years is enough. isn't it?
Yes. Well, next year, the way it is it's 3 council seats and a mayor, then 3 council seats, mayor. So every 2 years,
Yeah.
the mayor turns the mayor's election's up, but the council members, it's 3 and 3.
Yeah.
It just so happened that because we had some people leave sooner, we have a fairly
Yeah.
new group of people.
Yeah.
But we're all settling in. Everybody's
Yeah.
learning
That's good.
everything. It's a lot to learn, isn't it?
Yeah, and there'll be another special election next year. So Wayne's seat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
actually, Wayne's would be it won't be a special election. He'll be
Just part of the
It'll
general.
be part of the
yeah,
general.
that's right.
Yeah.
It'll be general.
So it would be
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it would actually be
Next year in
Yeah,
2020.
there will be 3 seats open. Whoever are the 2 top getters in November will actually have to run again
Again, right.
Next
next year,
year.
which
Yeah.
is kind of tough.
Yeah.
But
they'll get
anyway.
their feet wet. Again,
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
you coming in.
Yeah.
Be sure you get somebody we haven't talked to yet. We get
Okay.
them in. You still have a couple left. So, and
do.
appreciate
I'll corner
you,
'em.
Bruce, coming in and taking
Yeah.
the heat. You know, we appreciate it. We,
I
don't,
won't-
we didn't
I'll-
ask you any too hard questions.
Yeah, I'll be back.
I know you will.
I'll
You're
be
great.
back.
We really appreciate
Yeah.
the work that all of you do on the council. It's underappreciated. And again, whether people agree with you or not, it's still a lot of work to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing. People, they just think you can stand up there and know all this stuff, but it's a lot of time involved on it.
I have a whole new respect
Yeah.
for elected officials
Yeah.
after serving. I'll say that. I mean, yeah. Like
Yeah.
you always sit back and think, why would they do that?
Oh,
And
that's dumb.
Yeah, why would anybody do that? And,
Yeah. Once you- yeah.
But once you serve it, you think there's a lot more responsibility, and if
Sure,
you're
sure.
and like you said, if you're doing it right,
Yeah.
you're listening, you're preparing, you're researching, you're reading. As
Yeah.
Melissa
Right.
said, it's a whole lot
Yeah,
of
it's like-
reading.
it's not what you can do; it's what you can't do. You know,
yeah.
we're
Yeah.
governed by a lot of other people that have more. Have us on a string.
Yeah.
Couple of
We-
But we have some openings on some things. If you're one of those
Yes.
citizens that says, I
Yes.
want to get involved, we have
Right.
openings on
Planning
FREDA
Commission.
and now Planning
Planning
Commission.
Commission.
Because Daryl Merchant is leaving
Yeah.
us after all these years.
I was thinking he was going to slip in there and run for council, but maybe
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah.
Who knows what Daryl's
Daryl
saying?
was just
That's a loss to our Planning
yeah.
Commission.
Daryl's
He
a
was-
very community
yeah.
individual that's
Yeah.
very focused on the community.
There's a lot of tribal knowledge that's going to be lost.
Yeah.
I mean, Daryl has GIS training. He's a planner, and he knows he's a surveyor.
Right,
So he
right.
knows where
Yeah.
he knows where things are that people don't.
He knows where the skeletons are
Yeah,
buried.
that's it. That's it. But
Okay.
seriously, if there's somebody in the community that is thinking, I think I want to get involved, that's an opportunity.
One last thing, because I know the Mark's over there falling asleep. Water, our mandatory water.
Yeah.
You didn't mention
Yeah,
it.
that's why when he said earlier about
Yeah.
the floods, I was like,
I just posted the story the other day about people don't realize that, when the river gets low, it's hard to suck that mud out of the water.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of rain somewhere during the night, and I was like thinking, oh please, but I think it's going to have to
We need a
rain
week.
quite a bit to. So I don't have hurricane season. September
as
is
it
usually
rains
when we
farther
get some.
south of us, we'll get a little of that. But
Yeah.
really, we got to
Yeah.
really watch our water, and little things add up.
Yeah. And you don't think about it like, watering your plants, things like
Yeah.
stuff that you're used to just having that.
Sure.
But and we went from voluntary to mandatory
right.
this week. So and it's not because the town's trying to boss you around, but we
want to have enough water
to we need
survive on.
Yeah, so please
Okay.
pay attention. Thanks,
All right.
Mike.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Mark, for always hanging in there with us.
He's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Yeah,
Bruce.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks
Absolutely.
again. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.